All Rotary leaders, my fellow Rotarians, and Club TRF chairs. Now, before I start off my session, let me just preface it by thanking incoming Governor Teoh Kwan Swee for his kind introduction. My session today under the TRF track is on understanding grants. And I'd like to take you through on this journey, an introduction of grants. So we'll kick off by just showing you what are the learning objectives of today's session. Yeah. So the next slide, we will have the learning objectives. Now we hope that by the end of this session, all of you who are here with us in this room will have a better understanding of both global and district grants, and especially the requirements. On global grants, past Assistant Governor Susan will be doing it in a little bit more detailed fashion in the afternoon. And also to give you a better idea on what sort of district grant projects that your club wish to carry out. Yeah, if you have not started planning, now's the time to do that. And we're going to talk a little bit about stewardship as regards to utilization of grants and carrying out your projects. And also to prepare you in submission of your final report, because that is very important in your final report. And we'll show you a sample of how you should get that going so that we can close the file and we can then prepare for your district grant for the next Rotary year. And generally, we'll answer some queries and those of you who have posed some questions. Okay, let's kick off with a little bit about global grants. Right, for the next slide on global grants and district grants. First, on global grants, what are the qualifications that is required? The district qualification is that we have to be qualified as a district before the 1st of July. So that means I will have to go through a series of questions, sit for a little bit of test, if you like, online questions to get our district qualified. And then we also have to agree to implement the Memorandum on Understanding. And we have to also conduct grant management seminars for clubs. So we had the online training earlier on, and quite a number of you have already sat through the grant management seminar session or on the workshop of grants. And today's session, if you were to register for both my session and later on Susan's session in the afternoon, we will deem that as also your attendance, your club's attendance to be eligible to apply for both global grants and district grants for the ensuing Rotary year, i.e. Rotary year 2021, right? And for your club, you must be current in reporting on all existing global grants, right, in order to apply for a global grant, because we want you to make sure that if you have a current grant, that your reports, both your interim report and your final report, must be submitted within the deadline provided, all right? And the other district requirements, such as you must be up to date in both your RI dues, your district dues, as well as ROS compliance. We'll need you to meet up with, to meet all these expectations of compliance. All right, now, next, how is a global grant organized? Firstly, the global grant, just a very brief overview, is that you must have 2 qualified Rotary clubs in different countries. Yeah, different countries. You cannot do a global grant with both your club as a host club and your international partner being a Rotary Club of MOA, for instance, because even though it's in District 3310, it is deemed to be still within Malaysia. So it must be a different country. Yeah, ideally your sister club overseas. And the host sponsor club is in the area where the project takes place. Now, it doesn't mean that if your club is going to do a major global grant on, let's say, clean water and sanitation project for Orang Asli or Orang Asal project somewhere in Pahang, that your club needs to be in Pahang itself. Not in that sense, but it should be within our country, yeah, meaning fairly close to where your club is based. And the international sponsor club is a supporting club. And the minimum budget for a global grant is 30,000 USD. And this project funding comes from both either cash contribution, either through your club or through an individual Rotarian that he wants to have a Paul Harris Fellow recognition. And it can come out of district designated fund if allocated by myself as the DRFC. And I'll be serving my final year as the District Rotary Foundation Chair for the next Rotary year. And then there is a match for the global grant. Just like an old matching grant, there is a matching mechanism. So if it's from the district designated fund or DDF, the match is 100%. So obviously it's better leverage. So supposing the district would give you 7,000 for your project, then you will get 14,000 at the end of the day. And if it's cash contribution from either your club, your sister club, or your partner clubs overseas, or if any individual Rotarian, the match is only 50%. So if someone puts in 1,000 eligible for Paul Harris Fellow, it is 1,500 in terms of project funding. Right? So that's the global grant. Now, next, let me just show you that slide on the forms, the kind of forms that you have to go through. The first and foremost, it's basically the community needs assessment. That's very important. And for that form, you got to fill up this 4-page form, essentially on a study that your club, you must be seen that you have conducted a survey of whether that particular community needs are there for that project that you want to do. So it's very important that you must engage the community. So again, if it's going to be a WASH project, meaning water, sanitation, and hygiene project for an Orang Asli community, you must have conducted your needs assessment on the community, whether, for instance, they really need your water supply, and where is the water supply coming from? Is it viable? And is it a needs-based project? It is not a project that you want to do because you are passionate about it, but the foundation will want to know that the needs comes first, all right? Without the needs, or if the needs are not met, definitely is no go. So this is a very important document. You must get it right. And later on, past Assistant Governor Susan will share with you on her journey, her experience in getting the needs assessment filled. So you can see this is a template, all right? Whether it is on a global grant or whether we do a BTT, we always have to fill in the needs assessment, right? So that's a form. We will have, not to worry, we'll have a separate workshop later on, whether it's going to be still on an online Zoom basis. If a physical meeting is not possible, that we will want to sit down with you for the clubs that are interested in putting up a global grant to let us have a look at your draft needs assessment, or even a draft synopsis of what sort of project you want to do and what sort of funding. So we can have an initial look and to see whether it is viable and whether the district can support you. Okay, next please. Now, this is the application template. Then this is on project financing. The next slide on project financing. That is just to give you an idea with this template, how is your funding like? Your home club, right? Rotary Club ABC, you may want to put in 5,000 for the foundation, right? And that 5% is basically a contingent, right? For administration costs of 5% on that. You can add that in. So it's 5,250, and your sister club will give you 5,000 cash, and your district DDF would also want to give you some contribution as well. You can see from the bottom. So this 5,000, right? That is matched 50%, and your cash to TRF, your international partner, 10,000, your match. So it's 5% here, and then on your match, you get another 5,000. And then the district DDF, all right, there is 100% match. So you work this out, and then it will give you a total funding. For instance, in this case, it comes up to about 41,000, the whole project funding, the whole cost. Yeah, so you can see basically it is much better if you were to leverage on the DDF, because then you have better match. All right, okay. Now, there's also a reporting template. Very important. Stewardship comes into play, my friend. And that's why I've been very hard on the clubs that have submitted the final report on district grants. We know that it's not a large amount, right? The quantum the district gives you 4,000 to 8,000, but it is the discipline, the exercise of very good stewardship that you need to put into place. And this is to prepare you in applying for a global grant. So if you don't get a district grant final report right, then how are you going to go on to do a global grant? Because the check and balances and the team from foundation is very thorough, and they will look at your application with a fine-tooth comb. They have a team of experts to go through it, and they can actually come back with lots of queries and lots of questions that you need to be on top of things to answer. Right? They're not there to basically stop you or to discourage you, but basically they want a proper stewardship to make sure there's good oversight in your project, and when you do it, it is successful, it meets with the 6 areas focus primarily, and it also meets with the needs of the community, having done a thorough community needs assessment. All right, and this is the reporting, the global grant reporting template, right? But this afternoon, again, Susan will share more with you on global grants. Now let's focus a little bit on district grants. Now what I have here is a listing of the clubs and their projects for this year's district grant. And I must add that the funds have just come in, and it will be disseminated to the clubs over this next couple of weeks. There has been a tremendous delay because firstly, to be quite honest, we went over budgeted. Yeah, we went a little bit over than what we had, because based on the appeal of some of the clubs, we thought they were very good projects. And we again opened up the closing date. And so we had an avalanche of applications. And so we had to do a little bit of fine tuning, we had to sort it out. We had to close last year's project to make sure everything is done, close the file, and then we can move on. And because of COVID-19, Foundation has also basically put this slightly on the back burner, because their focus was on dispersing the district disaster response fund first. So our district applied for 25,000 USD, and we got the money approved in 2 days. Right? So you can see from the projects that the clubs have been very creative. It meets with the 6 areas in focus. That's very important. And this will give you an idea of what the projects entail. Yeah, generally, the vetting committee, district grants chair, and myself, as well as incoming Governor Kwan will look into this, and we will approve based on number 1, your club's contribution history, and number 2, the viability of your project. Let's go on to that now. All right, what are the qualification requirements? First of all, global grants. Let's go through that once again. On global grants, 30,000, area of focus, it must be sustainable and for long-term benefit. It could be over a period of 1, 2, or 3 years. It need not be a project that you want to rush and complete within 6 months, right? And these are the basically key points on global grant. Let's move back to district grants. Then the next slide is on district grants, and we can see basically what are the district requirements. Firstly, you must attend the grants management seminar, which I mentioned, and your attendance is very important. Even the attendance record must be kept properly, so that we want to make sure to ensure that your club benefits because your members have attended the grants seminar. It's not just the sake of meeting the requirement, but it's also for self-education, which is very important. Attend the grant seminar, all right? And we want to make sure that your club does not have any outstanding reports of grants. And if you want to change a project because of whatever reason, for instance, maybe last year, for instance, some of you had a project with the state authority, but because of a change of government, that project going to go through, and the clubs have written to us and say they wish to change. Is that possible? We'll say yes, under such circumstances, why not? And even this year, we have actually informed the clubs that you're supposed to let us know by 30th of April whether you wish to convert your district grant project, which has been approved, to a COVID-19 related course. Now, if you want to do that, please inform us by the 30th of April so that we could approve and allow you to utilize the funds for whether it's provision of PPE or provision of food and provisions for the B40 and those in need. All right. And then we also want to make sure that your club has a good, decent record of accountability of funds, and your clubs have got no outstanding RI and district dues, as I mentioned. You're in compliance with ROS and Inland Revenue, and you have a good track record of contribution to the foundation. And by this, I don't mean that your club must have contributed 5 times more than what you are asking for in terms of district grant, but at least every year there's a track record of continuous support. at least 1,000 to 2,000. Yeah, whether it's for polio or for the annual fund. I think it's important that your club must show that commitment so that we will give the money back to you. All right. So that's basically the requirements for district grants. And this is the application process, just a flow chart. But essentially, what we do when we vet it, we look at the track record of the club. We either will approve the full amount, all right, or we will say that we can only approve a partial amount because we feel that your project can make do with a reduced sum because you have got very good funding for that particular project, and we feel that the project can be carried out with slightly lesser amount, or unfortunately we have to reject. Yeah, so every year we do reject a small percentage of clubs that make the application. But generally, we also come back to you on queries, on perhaps your application, there was a discrepancy in your quotation, is there possible conflict of interest or conflict of duty in your application? We will write back and I'm sure you will come back very quickly on some answers for us. Okay, so that is the flow chart for the grants review. Right, next is the final report. That's very important for us to close the file. With the permission of Rotary Club of Puchong Centennial, I've used their sample of the final report. Previously, clubs just gave us a 1 or 2 page report with photographs and attached all the invoices. This time around, we have a template, all right? And this will send out to all the clubs that you use this form to fill in upon completion of a project. So it's basically a question and answer. It's all there. And then there's also a financial report. And what we need you to attach with that is obviously your invoices, right? For the project itself. Now, if your project is to basically supply school equipment, or whether it's to supply water filter to a particular community, we need invoices for that amount. But please do not provide us with invoices for small petty items, 4 ringgit, 5 ringgit worth of paper that you bought, or nasi lemak meals for your staff, because that is not eligible under the district grant. District grant is specifically for your project, not for meals, not for hampers and VIP gifts. And even if it's a public image, there is a limit of 500 ringgit only, right? So the money is going back to your project. Yeah, almost 100% of it, make sure it goes to project. So submit photographs. Yeah, you completed the project, a photograph of your launch, and if you're going to install an item in a school or in hospital or somewhere, take a photograph of that actual installation of that equipment in that school. I think that'll be very nice. You can do that. And also your bank statement. If you could also attach a bank statement of that particular month where the money was banked into your club account, be it 4,000, 6,000, 8,000 ringgit. So evidence that the money is actually being banked in. And any newspaper reports, any publicity, please attach as well. All right, so it's very easy. All we need is just for you to fill up the form, attach photographs, 1 or 2 documentary evidence of the invoices, right, and receipts, as well as any press releases or any supplementary publicity. All right, so thank you so much, my friends, for this inaugural online learning on understanding grants. And if you have any queries, you can direct them to Past Governor Dr. Paulie, right, for grants, Past Assistant Governor for Alwyn, if you have any queries on annual fund, Past Assistant Governor Dr. Bernard on polio, as well as to me as a DRFC on global grants or on the TRF generally. All right, with that,
if you apply for global grant international project, please consider this point, this fact. First of all, your sister club must be given top priority, and you must know them well. Yeah, if you don't know them and they come to you, yes, I think it's fantastic to do a global grant project. In your so-called your report, you say you are involved in global grant project. In fact, everything is handled and done by the the other club over the other side. No, you just authorize it, you just make payment. This is not what we want. You don't learn much. We rather you do it here. That's why the encouragement is for you to do local projects. And secondly, if you don't, it doesn't mean we are going to stop. You can do international project, but make sure you're doing it with your sister club, and we expect them to reciprocate when we need them. Because when you do global grant project, you also need the so-called international partner. Now, the other thing, talking about international partner, besides your own sister clubs, if you really, if you really have problem in getting your sister clubs or getting international partners, there are few people you can look for. One is our district Rotary Foundation chair, Leslie. The other one you can look for me. I also have my connection. But the very important person is actually our international service chair. That's PDG Dr. Rajinda. In fact, his role is very, very important. He's supposed to identify international partner. He's supposed to look for international partner for you. So if you're doing a global grant project here, he's the man to look for. Yeah. If he fail, then no, he failed. Dr. Rajita, anything to add here? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
If I may add, incoming Governor, see when the Rotary Club Ampang did this project in the Philippines, I think they not only have due diligence, but it was really hands-on because Violet, in her hometown, she's there, right there, and she even got the cadre of inspector to welcome the cadre in to check on the project. So they are very well versed with this particular project in the Philippines. Yeah. And there are some clubs here who have visited your sister clubs who have actually seen some of the good work that they do in the projects, so you have the confidence level. And even when Bharat did the project in Bhutan, he has visited the project, he has seen it. So what Governor Kwan Swee is saying is that we would be careful, do your due diligence, just do not come in with a project because someone has written to you and you do not know this party very well. I think we've got to be very careful. We cannot re-emphasize that. I think the due diligence factor is so important because we're dealing with a global grant. It's not just a simple district grant of 1,000 or 2,000 USD. Yeah, right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, DG and Bindi has something to say about international global grants. DG,
sure.
Yeah, talking about the international global grants, clubs still can participate by contributing cash from their clubs and not requesting for DDF. And if so, the reporting lies with the club, isn't it, IDG?
Yes. You see, in our case, to be very frank, let me just share experience with you. India, those clubs, India is rich with DDF. A lot of fun. They can even come in, they will tell you, don't worry, you don't have to contribute. You contribute the minimal amount. We can even make the contribution for you. But you have the responsibility in terms of stewardship, in terms of reporting.
Reporting, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Reporting is very, very important. And if you're not sure of the thing, and if you are you'll be held responsible. Not only you, the whole district will be, kind of branded.
Blacklisted, yeah.
Blacklisted. So that's why I just want clubs to be very, very careful and also to really understand, yeah. When we consider your global grant application, especially in the international grant application, we will be very, very prudent. We're very, very cautious about it. I will, definitely, I will, because I've gone through that.
So the repercussions in not reporting can actually fall on the district being blacklisted as a whole.
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah. All right, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, can I interrupt this? Sorry, since DG Leslie, incoming governor, and current governor are here, there is a question from Dr. Janet Fu, and that is also some questions current clubs that are very qualified for a district grant want to ask. Some of them can't convert our COVID fund, like what the Dr. Janet Fu of our RC of Ampang said, because equipment have been purchased. And because of MCO, not likely that they can complete by August. So how should we proceed? Thank you.
I think in this case, we take it a case-to-case basis. As long as Dr. Janet writes into us, explaining the whole scenario, what is happening, I think we can hear out, I'm sure. Yeah, I think we understand because of the current this pandemic that's going on has created a whole lot of different scenarios. So I'm sure we will be able to listen to her, and that applies to other clubs as well if they're caught in a bind. Yeah, but we really would like you, once MCO is lifted, if social distancing is not an issue, not an obstacle to you conducting your project. Quickly try to finish it up so that you will not hold up the next round. Because the last 2 years, we've been caught with delays, and now with the COVID Fund Foundation has just given us finally the district grant money for this Rotary year, because they put a lot of emphasis on the disaster response fund, and the team is working from home. We understand there are limitations as well, but they've been pretty good. So we got the money in, and just that now we have to leave it to District Treasurer Bunsu to see whether physically he can go to the so many banks to bank in, because we don't have an online system. We have to get signatories to bank in the checks into your club account. So please bear with us. But the short answer to Dr. Janet, yes, we can look at it, but write in explaining your circumstances. Yeah.
Can I make a
What do you
point
think?
here?
What
No?
do you think?
Yeah, I just want to make a point clear here. No? Yeah. Talking about global grant and district grant. Now, first of all, there's actually certain condition you can't implement or start the project before the receipt of the fund. Yeah. If going strictly, otherwise your whole thing will be disqualified. But of course, I didn't hear what you say, Dr. Janet. I didn't hear what you say anyway. You see, as far as global grant and district grants are concerned, you are not supposed to roll out, or you are not supposed to carry out the project before you receive the fund. This is actually very strictly, this is a condition. Yeah, but as I said, the whole thing has been held up for too long, and I saw some concern. I didn't hear anything. Yeah, I think Nagesh is laughing. Yeah, so I think a special consideration will be made by our TRF chair. Yeah. Yes. So anyway, we'll consider. Definitely, we'll consider. Right? Okay. So have that clear. Please bear that clear in mind, especially when you are working on a global grant project. It can be very serious. The whole thing can be thrown out if you have started the project earlier, before the receipt of the fund. Yeah. All right.
Okay. If there are no more questions, I would request our district trainer Kiranjit Kaur, PDG Kiranjit, to give our remarks. After that, PDG Leslie can.
Before that, sorry, Nagesh. Before that, Nagesh, I think Enka has got a query, as well as I think past President Satya as well. I saw him having a query. Can you unmute these two gentlemen very quickly just to answer their question before we wrap up? If you don't mind. Yeah, Enka's question was on building renovation for the dialysis center. Is that right, Enka? Yeah, it was flashed very quickly. Answer: no. You cannot use a district grant for renovation, because yours is going to be a fairly big. But if you're talking about just a simple toilet project, in terms of a community that needs it, that's fine. Because your dialysis center, we're talking about renovation. We would rather not use that money for you to do upgrades and renovation. Perhaps you can use it for a small piece of equipment that doesn't come to very much for the dialysis center. Yeah. Okay. And Satyamurthy, what was the question from Greentown? So past President Satya, is he still around? He's not here. Past President Satya. Okay. All right. Fine.
Okay. DGND has one more question.
Any global grant project that you want to do for COVID-19, TRF has now relaxed the rules, and your international partner does not necessarily have to give 30% of the cash contribution. So if you have funds, especially from an outside source who wants to give money for a global grant project, you do not need your international partner to give the 30%.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Correct. That's correct. Correct. Yeah.
Any more questions from the floor?
Satya, I thought I saw Satya on the screen. Past President Satya, what was your query? Can we answer you quickly?
Mine is not so much a query as an opinion.
All right, sure. Share your opinion, please. Yeah.
Right. In Greentown's case, we have been running the project since 2004, and more than 1,000 kids from the same school have actually benefited from what we have done. When you were governor, you also visited the school.
Yes.
All right. Here it's different batch. It's year 6 kids who get the benefit. They stay back in school. They do not drop out. They go on to Form 1. We have given them spectacles, hearing aids, wheelchairs, books, food. Every day that they are in school, they get lunch and different batch. I think one of the shortfalls of Rotary that we do not get full recognition we need, that we are short term. We do not go back to the same location. In our case, we have become the anchor. Because present, there are others who come in to help the school. I think there has to be a little bit of a rethink on how we approach our grants. Thank you for listening.
Hear you, PP Satyabhuti, because the district grant is meant for a one-off, simple, smallish project. So again, incoming Governor Kwan Swee, myself, we did stress that if possible, try not to have the same project. You could probably go to the same beneficiary, but let's move it around a little bit. Maybe 1 year you do your tuition, 1 year you probably look at furnitures and stationery and reading materials. Yeah, we can look at that. But we will certainly would like you to look at different areas, different project, different area of focus. So you do not just concentrate on one beneficiary using the district grant every year. That's all we're saying. Yeah, but there's nothing to stop you. It's not cast in stone.
Yeah.
It's not a policy. It's just that we want you to diversify where you can. Yeah, I think it's important that we want you to spread out and do that. But for global grant, that is a long-term sustainable project. Certainly sustainability over 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Yes, the project is important long-term. But district grant is just every year we want you to think out of a box, think of something different, do something for another community. You know, but if it's going to focus the same community, then maybe you look into different areas. All right, I hope that answers you. I hope you're happy with that, Satya. Okay, great. Thank you, Nagesh. You can take over.
You want me to add on to it?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Let me just add on to it. Now, district grant, even though it's meant for small projects, short term, probably, you know, do it 1 year. That's why I know we don't encourage you to do a big project. We usually it's a very simple project, yeah. But we also want to encourage you to make use of district grant in the way global grant is intended for. Like for example, global grant, we don't go back again and again. We do it once, but hoping that the community will take it on from there. So if we can do a kind of district grant similar to that, with that 10,000 or 8,000 kind of that you can kind of improve their economic status by teaching them a skill and things like that, that will be fantastic. Yeah, because that will really add value to it. You see, if you are installing water filters, if you are giving food or uniform, that's one off, and that's it. You don't have the so-called recurring kind of benefits in that sense. So I have seen some beautiful district grant projects. For example, teaching them how to do a trade, baking and sewing, and they earn a living from there. This is something fantastic. Which I definitely, if we put in no project like that, I'd be the first one to approve. Yeah. So just have that in mind. I just hope. Yeah. It doesn't mean we are going to stop it. No, we don't. But I mean, looking at the whole purpose of the grant, why do we want to give? We don't just give fish. Yeah. We must teach them how to fish. That's the whole purpose. Right? Yeah.
Can I, Nagesh?
Yeah.
Can I, PDG Leslie, can you address Shankar's question?
There's two more questions if you have time.
Yes, please. I think it's important.
What is Shankar's question? I missed that there. Because there's so many messages that are flashing in front of us.
Our club wishes to close the district grant project we carried out recently.
Right.
We are yet to receive the funds or the reporting templates. When can this be expected, please? Thanks.
Okay, as I mentioned, we've just got the money coming in from US. Now District Treasurer is thinking ways and means and how to send this money out to various accounts, get the check signed. I'm sure he work on some way with extended MCO, unfortunately to 12th of May. He's trying his level best, but I think we should get that sorted out. And reporting template, we'll send it out to you all. But as I said in the past, clubs have just written in a one-page report with receipts, with all that, we've accepted it. If you do not want to use the template, no issue. Just give us a short write-up with photographs of the project, what you have done, substantiated with receipts and your final budget. And also, basically to just wrap up what you have done. All right. So no problem, Shankar. Yeah.
Let me just add on to this. Now, I think a lot of people don't understand how the whole thing has been held up. Yeah, the fund, we have applied for the district grant early, and until now we have not received it. In fact, there are a couple of reasons not to the delay. Now, firstly, we try to be very generous. People like, PDG Leslie, PDG Paul, myself. So we have overshot the allocation. First thing, yeah, we are overshot. That's one. Now, the other thing is also, those so-called unutilized TDF fund, we have to return. See, first of all, we were not aware, that we have to return. And if we don't return, we won't get the fund coming in. So we have no choice but to work on those. I think, roughly how much, PDG, Leslie? I think so. Yeah.
In terms of the district grant, the funds.
Yeah, no. You have to return the unutilized portion to get.
We returned 3,000, about 3,200 of unutilized funds previous year because of the buffer. We were worried about the exchange rate, so we had a buffer. We had to refund every single cent. So we did that already. That was a delay in that process as well. Without the process going through, they would not disperse with the money.
Yes.
So we went through a few hurdles as well ourselves.
Yeah. So now everything is clear. You should expect your fund, I think probably before the end of this month, or this week, or next week, or something like that.
A couple of weeks.
Okay. So hope you all can understand, because even some very senior Rotarians think we have the unutilized, so-called TDF. Why can't we make use of it? But no, in actual fact,
you can't.
We can't. Yeah.
Can't.
Okay. Thank you.
And on that note,
on that.
Yes, Governor.
And for information, why the district grant? Actually, we can got the easy way out. And at the first closing day, we only got 4 clubs now. We can give all the 4 clubs. But during my visit, I went around, I said, why you're not doing district grant? Some of them say, oh, it's too short the notice. And now only I'm finding the vendors and things. Please remember, especially all the incoming, now you're supposed to start early.
Yes.
By July, when the thing comes out, you're supposed not now only you start planning for your district grants. That's very good. Early on, we only have 4 applications. We got to give it to all the 4 clubs. Then we have closed shop, but we extended the closing date, and all of a sudden, all of you came out 44. 40 odd. That's why
Governor, such a good salesperson,
Governor, and the grants management for cracking their head in our Leslie office now, going through left and right to get the gas plan. I hope you appreciate that. Thank you, the grant management. Well done.
Now, I just want to say, the not parting words or whatever you call it, for those who are still present. Now, let me just tell you, we are going to start early as far as the district grant is concerned. Plan your project now. In July itself, we are going to open up the application, and hopefully by end August we are going we want to close it, and hopefully by September, October, we have everything approved and announcement made. Yeah. So the coming year, we want to make it very, very efficient, knowing all these issues now. So this kind of delay will not happen again, I hope. Yeah. So just bear it in mind, go back and tell your clubs, whoever in charge of district grant projects, plan now. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, PDG Les, do you have anything to say as a last?
Oh, just to wrap up. Thank you everyone for participation and for your questions. In no way can this 1 hour session will cover the whole gamut of the topic of even district grants, because my session normally is much longer than that. I'm going to share with you the various do's and don'ts, but I think you have the gist. You have a good idea of what your club would want to do, and I would encourage you, as I said, we do not want District Governor Teoh Kwan Swee to go around like a super salesperson like last year, like this year's governor, and suddenly we get 85 clubs or 83 clubs applying before the deadline. Then we are really going to figure out how we can budget the whole thing. Yeah, but it is a good problem to be in. If all the clubs are interested to apply, that's fantastic. All right. So thank you for your participation. I see we got veterans in our group. I also see we got new members. Recently chartered member Luisa Key from Bukit Bandera. Thank you for joining us. I hope you picked up a few things about grants. And thank you once again, resource person, our incoming governor. Thank you so much. And Nagesh, thank you for your hard work. And thank you to all for your participation. Thank you.
Please join the afternoon session, yeah,
Yes,
please.
yes, definitely. Please join the afternoon
Yeah?
session.
Okay.
Global Grants.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the
Over
room
to
will be
trainer
open for
and over to
another
you,
5
Nagesh.
minutes.
Yeah.
District trainer, does you want to say something, Kiran?
No, hello everyone. Thank you, IDG. Thank you, PDG Leslie Salehuddin. I'm sure one of the questions that we've got for most of the PE is, when do we start submitting our district grant application, which I think you have said that the statement is going to come out soon from the District Rotary Foundation Committee. And of course, we need to clarify. So far, more than, I think, 45 clubs have completed the grant management seminar, the Rotary International Learning Centers seminar. So many more are planning to do it. And yes, the program is on our Rotary International Learning Center. We have put it open, but for the purposes, I think, for the purposes of the next year's incoming president-elects, we have encouraged them to try and get their club members, at least one club member, to complete the grant management seminar. So keep it up. You can do it, of course, all year round, but for next year's clubs, please look at the online grant management seminar. It's a fantastic it's a fantastic module, and even Rotary International is encouraging us to look at it because we cannot have a one-to-one session. Thank you very much. We've clarified everything.
Thank you, District Trainer.
Do we have PDG Paul there? Can we, no?
Where's Paul? Does Paul want to say a few words? Where's Paul? Where's our grants
No,
chair?
no, Paul did not attend. I don't see him.
Oh, Paul's not here. Oh,
Yeah.
he's got to run.
Okay.
He's doing his marketing today, is it? Doing his one-man marketing. Okay.
Right.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank
See you at
you.
4
Thank you,
o'clock this
everyone.
afternoon. 4 o'clock again. Thank you.
Okay,
Come in
thank
early.
you.
Come in
Thank you,
early.
everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Nagesh. You can
Bye.
see.
See you,
Bye. Thanks,
Susan, in
Trainer.
the evening.
PDG Leslie, thank you.
Say Jenny. Thank you.
Good
Bye.
session,
Bye,
good
everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Kiran.
Bye,
Bye.
Ranjit.
Bye-bye. I think, Nagesh, you can leave the room open for the next 5 minutes for anyone who wants to have fellowship.
Yeah. Anyone wants to add in anything else while we're still around?
We are around.
Okay, actually, sorry.
Oops.
BDG, can you hear me?
Uh,
BDG Leslie, can you hear me?
It's Mohan. You're on, Mohan.
Yes. Okay, I have a question. We, for the last 3 years, we have taken on the project, Rotary Club Kudu. It's actually quite a big project.